Shama, are you ready?
Sarvam, yes.
Oh, this is the wrong scale. Om. 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 गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हृदाकाशे सदा भान्तं शान्तमानन्दरूपिणम् ज्ञानभानुमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं सत्यसायिनम् ॐ भास्कराय विद्महे महद्युतिकराय धीमहि तन्नो आदित्यः प्रचोदयात् अनुनजातमष्टरोदसी इति नानालिङ्गद्वादृतूनान्नानासूर्यत्वम् अष्टौ तौ व्यवसिता इति सूर्यमण्डलान्यष्टात् ऊर्ध्वं तेषामेषा भवति चित्रं देवानामुदगादनीकम् चक्षुर्मित्रस्य वरुणस्याग्नेः आप्राद्या वा पृथिवी अन्तरिक्षं सूर्य आत्मा जगतस्तस्थुषश्चेति ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Offering our collective love at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri 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 Satya Sai Baba Varu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hari Om, Shalom, Sai Ram, Namaste. Let us all be together. Let us all be nourished together. Let us all work together with great vigor. May our studies shine and illumine our intellects. May we not hate or contradict each other. Let there be peace, peace, and peace. Yesterday we completed the seventh Anuvaka, which is about the Nana Suryah, the many Suryas and the constellations of such suns that are present within and without, ending with the beautiful Upasthana mantram associated with the Surya Bhagavan as Chitrandevana Mudagadanikam. Now we enter into this next Anuvakam, the eighth Anuvakam. Not yet. I'll ask you to show Sairama. So this eighth Anuvakam is again another powerful Anuvakam. It spans from mantra 26 to 33. In this Anuvakam, there is an incredible, again, profound scientific and spiritual principles laid out. A little more elaboration around the time. There is also how the time is linked to gravity in space, and also about another aspect of time called the death, and how the death and what happens after death in the context of the path or the journey of different souls, and what kind of journeys they would take depending upon the types of actions and the results of such actions, and how the principle of Surya is associated with this. So these are, I don't know how to thank Bhagwan for that. And as I was contemplating on this question by Unikrishnan sir, and then the Sacramento Sai Center will do a Gita Vahini, are doing a Gita Vahini study circle, and that what brother shared, what they are going to study today is about the three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo Guna, how they undergo various permutations and combinations and modifications and become manifested as all this creation. I will read exactly from Gita Vahini, chapter, page number 102. The three qualities, purity, passion, and dullness, undergo various permutations and combinations and modifications and become manifested as all this creation, this universe, Prakriti. Therefore, this creation is subject to change. It is not fixed, true. But the Atman, the consciousness, the Chaitanya, which is sheer effulgence, so it is not subject to blemishes or modifications. The body is creation, the intellect, buddhi, and the mind are also creation. For this reason, they also differ according to the degree of access or deficiency of one or other of the qualities. So it's very important to keep in mind that the changeless in the changing is what we strive to connect to. So I might have used an incorrect word called becoming, the infinite becoming finite. No, the infinite doesn't become the finite. The infinite appears as the finite. So as we get into this Anuvakam 8, many questions will therefore be asked by the seeker about how this manifestation of the time and so on and so forth, and how this entire universe is being held in space. This concept of gravity is described so beautifully in Aruna Prashna, and not just objectively, but also going deep into the source of the gravity. And then there is a conversation about the causes for death, the types of death, and how action, which is a movement in time, also results in certain types of propensities of the path of the soul towards different ways in the context of after death, what happens. And then this 33rd mantra of the Anuvakam 8 concludes, putting it all together in the context of the 8 forms of Agni. So today we'll start with all these questions that were raised. Kvedamabhrannivishate.
क्वेदमभ्रन्निविशते
Kvayagum samvatsaro mithaha.
क्वायगुं संवत्सरो मिथः
Kvahah kveyan devaratri.
क्वाहः क्वेयन्देव रात्रि
Kvamasa ratavashritaha.
क्वमासा ऋतवश्रिताः
Ardhamasa muhurtaha.
अर्धमासा मुहूर्ताः
Nimeshastrutibhis saha.
निमेषास्त्रुटिभिः सह
Kvema apo nivishante.
क्वेमा आपो निविशन्ते
Yadito yanti samprati.
यदि तो यान्ति सम्प्रति
Kvedamabhrannivishate.
क्वेदमभ्रन्निविशते क्वेदमभ्रन्निविशते
Kvayagum samvatsaro mithaha.
क्वायगुं संवत्सरो मिथः क्वायगुं संवत्सरो मिथः
Kvahah kveyan devaratri.
क्वाहः क्वे क्वाहः क्वेयन्देव रात्रि क्वाहः क्वेयन्देव रात्रि
Kvamasa ratavashritaha.
क्वमासा ऋतवश्रिताः क्वमासा ऋतवश्रिताः
Ardhamasa muhurtaha.
अर्धमासा मुहूर्ताः अर्धमासा मुहूर्ताः
Nimeshastrutibhis saha.
निमेषास्त्रुटिभिः सह निमेषास्त्रुटिभिः सह
Kvema apo nivishante.
क्वेमा आपो निविशन्ते क्वेमा आपो निविशन्ते
Yadito yanti samprati.
यदि तो यान्ति सम्प्रति यदि तो यान्ति सम्प्रति
Kvedamabhrannivishate. Kvayagum samvatsaro mithaha. Kvahah ऋतवश्रिताः अर्धमासा मुहूर्ताः निमेषास्त्रुटिभिः सह क्वेमा आपो निविशन्ते यदीतो यान्ति सम्प्रति
क्वेदमभ्रन्निविशते क्वायगुं संवत्सरो मिथः क्वाहः क्वेयन्देवरात्रि क्व मासा ऋतवश्रिताः अर्धमासा मुहूर्ताः निमेषास्त्रुटिभिः सह क्वेमा आपो निविशन्ते यदितो यान्ति सम्प्रति.
I hope all of you are also chanting along with Sham, not just listening to him. Okay, can you all hear me okay? Is my internet okay? Yeah, okay. Now, there is a refrain of qua, qua, qua throughout these lines. First one is qua, idam abhram nivishate. Qua means where does. Qua means where, where. So the first question is where does idam means this, abhram means cloud, nivishate enter and stay. Where does the cloud enter and stay? What is the place? Where does it stay? Where does it enter? What? The cloud. So therefore qua plus idam becomes quedam. Abhram nivishate. Then the next mantra is qua qua ayam samvatsarah mitha mithaha vayah samvatsaro vayagum. So the gum comes because there is the sum after that, the sakaram. Therefore it is kvayagum. But the words are kwa ayam samvatsaraha mithaha. Kwa, again where does? Ayam samvatsaraha, this samvatsara, mithaha. Here the word samvatsara means as in time, the year. So that is, so where does this thing called year, along with mithaha, along with all the other various limbs or units of time, enter and reside? Where do all of them enter along with this year? And where do they stay? What is their abode? Next one. Qua. Next one is quaha. Quaha kveyan deva ratri. Qua. Again, where or what is the source of ahaha, means the day. What is the source for the day? Deva means addressing it to O Lord. Qua, what about iyam ratri, this ratri? See, how are you tracking all the questions? We'll come back to this again with the qua. Again, qua, where do masah, the months, Ratavaha, the seasons, Saha, along with Ardhamasah, the fortnight, Muhurtah, the Muhurta, which is 48 minutes, unit of time, Nimeshaha, which represents the time it takes for a blink of an eye, Tritibhihi, 30 microseconds. Shritah, seek as their abode. Kvaha kveyan devaratri, kvamasa, ritavaha, ardhamasa, muhurtah, nimesha, trutibhissaha, shritah. That is the syntax. So then the next question is, Kvema apo nivishante. Imam apaha, these waters, yat itah yanti, that are drying and evaporating, qua, where do, samprati, they go, nivishante, enter and reside. That is the syntax. Imaha apaha, yat itah yanti, qua, samprati, nivishante. Therefore, the words there are, qua, imaha, apaha, nivishante, et, idaha, yanti, samprati. Yat itaha yanti means now dry and evaporating. These waters, imaha apaha, qua, where do they, samprati, go, nivishante, enter and reside. How many questions are there?
4.
Huh?
6.
5 questions are there. Look carefully. Kveda, Kvayagum, Vahaha, Vamasa, Kvema Apo. 5 questions are there. How many Kwas are there? Or Kves are there? Total,
5.
there are 5 questions there. So these questions are about what? Questions are all about the source and the place where the time resides. Mostly about that. And the last one also about the waters. The water that is there, apaha, where do they go and where do they reside? Now, it is all about time. Time. According to Surya Siddhanta, the time aspect of Vedic time is much more detailed than the time that we deal, as in seconds, minutes, and hours and days, etc. How they came up with these time units is basically all natural. There is nothing artificially created. What is a second as defined by the Western clock? Does anyone remember? I went through that before. Yes, Shama.
The cesium atom, but I don't. That's the time. But yeah, uh, I know it's a
That,
cesium atom. It has to do with the
yeah,
cesium atom.
the change in electronic frequency of one cesium atom is defined as 1 second. Now, then what happened with the time? Those fellows recognized that that movement of time changes when there is an effect, when it is moved away from gravity. Even the time is affected because of the forces between two particles. All of this came later. But the definition of time, 3T, means 30 microseconds. 30 microseconds. Nimesha is 89 milliseconds. Kashtha is 1.6 seconds. Kala is 48 seconds. Nimesha here doesn't mean, literally does not mean the nimusha. The nimusha, that 1 minute that we talk about, is not nimesha. Nimesha is 89 milliseconds. And that 89 milliseconds is the time that takes to blink the eye. Blink the eye. That is 89 milliseconds. Kala is 48 seconds. Muhurta is 48 minutes. A day or a night is divided into 30 muhurtas, will make a day or a night. So 30 times 48 is what? Quick math. Hello.
24 hours.
No, no. Why did I ask how many minutes I asked?
1440.
30. 1440.
40
1440 what?
minutes.
Minutes. Now divide by 60, you will get 24 hours. So how they defined a day? Based on muhurta. Therefore, these muhurtas, in these muhurtas, they say, proper muhurtam. In this muhurta, how the planets have different positions, which kind of constellation do they enter, and that is now divided into, each day is divided into 30 muhurtas. So a muhurtam time for a wedding or any Upanayanam or a special function is 48-minute interval. Within that 48-minute interval, they will look at how the star is positioned, how the star is transitioning, and all of that. And then they will even take one specific unit of time as the auspicious time. So a period of 15, now longer units of time. So we came up to a day, even a longer unit of time, period of 15 days is Paksha, which is called fortnight. Masa, a lunar month. Samvatsara, a solar year. See, nothing here is blind belief or prophecies. There is nothing that is given as a useless prophecy. If you don't believe in my God, you are useless. There is nothing like that. No Veda mantra says if you don't believe in this God, you will go to hell. No Veda mantra. Take it to show me. Bring it to me. One Veda mantra that says you have to believe only in this God. You have to do only this. Nothing like that. So those religions that are actually based on blind beliefs, call Hindus as people that believe in blind beliefs. But it is reverse. It is reverse. Completely reverse. There are no prophecies. It's beautiful, incredible teachings that are based on complete scientific wisdom. These are all inquiries into Mother Nature and human nature. So now the answers are given in the next couple of lines, and then it will continue into the next mantra. Kala apsu nivishante.
Kala apsu nivishan. Kala apsu nivishante.
Apasurye samahitah.
Apasurye samahitaha.
Abhranyapah prapadyante.
Abhranyapah prapadyante.
Vidyut surye samahita.
Vidyut surye samahita.
Om Kala apsu nivishante.
Kala apsu nivish. No. Kala apsu nivish. Kala apsu nivishante. Kala apsu nivishante.
Apasurye samahitah.
Apasurye samahitaha. Apasurye samahitaha.
Abhranyapah prapadyante.
Abhranyapah prapadyante. अभ्राण्यपः प्रपद्यन्ते
विद्युत्सूर्ये समाहिता
विद्युत्सूर्ये समाहिता विद्युत्सूर्ये समाहिता
काला अप्सु निविशन्ते आपः सूर्ये समाहिताः अभ्राण्यपः प्रपद्यन्ते विद्युत्सूर्ये समाहिता
कालात् अप्सु निविशन्ते आपः सूर्ये समाहिताः अभ्राण्यपः प्रपद्यन्ते विद्युत्सूर्ये समाहिता.
So the 26th mantra ends at Apas Surya Samahita. So we use the next two lines to complete. Kalaha Apsu Nivishante. Kalaha, the time, Nivishante, enters and resides in Apsu, in waters. Just when you look at that, it will sound like a statement that is completely nonsensical from a modern thinking point of view. How can time reside in waters? How can time reside in waters? Apaha, these apaha, the waters, samahitah, together reside in Surya, in the sun. Abhrani means the clouds, prapadyante, receive, apaha, the waters, through sun's rays. The clouds receive these waters through sun's rays. We studied the same principle before. If you all recall, we studied the same principle before in the water cycle that was described in the very beginning, in the first, in the second, and in the first Anuvaka. Vidyut means the electricity, the lightning. Samahitah together resides in Surya, in the sun. Time enters and resides in waters. Waters together reside in the sun. The clouds receive the waters through the sun's rays. The lightning resides in the sun. See, these are like declarations, statements made. It's not just this particular Vedic hymn that states this. There is another one called Mahanarayana Upanishad. सर्वे निमेषा जज्ञिरे विद्युतः पुरुषादधि कलामुहूर्ताः काष्ठाश्चाहो रात्राश्च सर्वशः अर्धमासामासार्तवः संवत्सरश्च कल्पन्ताम् स आपः प्रदुधे उभे इमे अंतरिक्षमधोसुवः. These are the 8th and 9th ruks in Mahanarayana Upanishad, which is giving the same principles that Purusha, the supreme consciousness, is the abode of all the units of time, from all the way from a nimesha all the way to the kalpa. A kalpa is equal to 3.8 billion human years in relative time. So therefore, and this mantra from the Sa apah pradudhe ubhe ime antarikshamatho suvaha. This supreme consciousness, therefore, has used apaha, wherein it means love, to create time, the heaven, and the intersperse between the heaven and the earth. That is what we were talking yesterday. Dhyava, Bhumi, Antariksha, all these aspects are interconnected, connected through the movement of water because of the sun's rays. And the Surjo Marichima Datte Sarvasma Bhuvanadadhi Tasyaf Paka Visheshena Smrtankala Visheshanam. That is the mantra we studied before. Suryaha Marichim Adhatte Sarvasmat Bhuvanat Adhi Tasyaf Paka Visheshena Smrtang Kala Visheshanam. So the same aspect about how the sun's rays evaporate the waters and the movement of the water through this sun's rays is defining the entire aspect of movement. The key word is movement. I will come to the inner aspect of that later. How do we all relate to that inside us? That is also that is actually the most important aspect of study of the scriptures. Huh? I don't know how many of you pay attention to the thought for the day written in Prashanti Nilayam. This thought for the day written in Prashanti Nilayam, can somebody bring that up for Sunday? Where is it? I'm not able to. Okay. Bhagavan, in this thought for the day, every human being is an embodiment, a repository, and vehicle of Ananda, bliss. The awareness of this Ananda is the goal of man, the consummation of human life. But man seeks pleasure and happiness from objects through the senses and attains the low material Ananda, not the supreme Ananda he ought to win. It must be said that the Ananda attained through the objective world or through subjective means is only a fractional expression of the Ananda which the mergence in Brahman, supreme reality, grants. We speak of hot water, though heat is not a quality of water. Fire has given it the heat. So too, objective Ananda or subjective Ananda is rendered so through the grace of Brahmanandam, supreme divine bliss. Man prides himself that he has earned Ananda himself by his effort. It is sugar that makes the bland globules of flour into sweet laddus. The stars are proud that they shed light on a darkened world, but the bright moonlight renders starlight too faint to be noticed. The moon's pride too is humbled when the sun illumines the sky. Brahmananda is the sun. This does not mean that one should ignore straight starlight and moonlight or Vishayananda or Vidyananda. The bliss derived from nature and from spiritual experiential knowledge. They are steps, stages, samples. While valuing them as such, the goal of Brahmananda has to be relentlessly pursued. Each of these thought for the day is a supreme wisdom capsule. Supreme wisdom capsules. All this all sounds like unless you really connect with it, go deeper into it. That is the reason why we are studying Aruna Prashna like this. What are these, all these units of time that are packed, into this beautiful experience that we have? Okay, Shama, show the mantra now. So, what we are really connecting to is about movement. Entire thing is about this movement. Time is movement. I think when I was addressing this young youth in South Africa on the National Youth Day, only about three aspects. What the youth needs nowadays is time, energy, and money. You can create time for yourself rather than being run by time. You run the time. You just think about it. How do you create time? You create time by, by giving space between two thoughts. So this entire movement is present in what? Where is this movement of time present in what? That is what this mantra is really talking about. Sarve nimesha jagnire vidyutah purushadadhi. Purushat adhi. This Purusha is what is defined as the supreme consciousness. In this supreme consciousness is moving both energy and time. Kala muhurta kashtascha ahoratrascha sarvasaka ardhamasa masha ritava ardhamasa masa ritava samvatsarascha kalpantam sa apaha pradudevubhe ime antarikshamatho suvaha. Everything you can create energy. How do you create energy? By focusing on the movement of the thought. All of this. Abhranyapah prapadyante vidyut surye samahitah. Then the next question that comes is, how is all this being held by this Purusha, the supreme consciousness? How is this being held? The modern science, it took an Einstein to come and disprove Newton's theory and to create this aspect about time. Einstein has brought in another concept, and that concept is called gravity. So you understand this. We'll come to that just in a second. So the next one, the next set of mantra is now going into deeper into this aspect about, okay, if time is movement, how is this movement of time influenced by who is holding together? What is holding together this entire aspect of the earth, the atmosphere, and the space, everything? How are planets very simply in their respective places rotating? What is making it happen? Of course, modern science has declared that it is gravity that is enabling that. There is a gravitational force associated with the sun, gravitational force associated with the planet Earth, and this interaction between these two bodies and their respective gravitational forces enables each planet to move perfectly in their orbits. But who is behind this thing called gravitational force? Who is behind it? What is causing? You understand? Anavarne ime bhumi
अनवर्णे इमे भूमि
iyanchasau cha rodasi.
इयं चासौ च रोदसी
Rodasi.
रोदसी
किग्स्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्.
किग्गस्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्.
Very good. One more time.
किग्गस्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्.
एने मे विधृते उभे.
येने मे विधृते उभे.
विष्णुना विधृते भूमि.
विष्णुना विधृते भूमि.
इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
Very good. Let's learn this mantra. Om Anavarne ime bhumi.
ॐ अनवर्णे इमे भूमि. ॐ अनवर्णे इमे भूमि.
इयञ्चासौ चरोदसी.
इयं चासौ चरोदसी. इयं चासौ चरोदसी.
किग्स्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्.
किग्स्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्. किग्स्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्.
एने मे विधृते उभे.
येने मे विधृते उभे. येने मे विधृते उभे.
Get some water, get some water. Yeah.
येने मे विधृते उभे.
विष्णुना विधृते भूमि.
विष्णुना विधृते भूमि. विष्णुना विधृते भूमि.
इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
इति वत्सस्य वेदना. इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
So these 4 lines. Anavarne ime bhumi. इयञ्चासौ चरोदसी. किग्स्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्. एने मे विधृते उभे. विष्णुना विधृते भूमि. इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
अनवर्णे इमे भूमि. इयं चासौ चरोदसी. किग्गुष्विदत्रान्तराभूतम्. येने मे विधृते उभे. विष्णुना विधृते भूमि. इति वत्सस्य वेदना.
वत्स, वत्स, th and sa, vatsa. Okay. Iti vatsasya vedana. These words behind. Yeah, one more time. Yes, okay.
Iti vatsasya vedana.
Anavarne ime bhumi iyam cha asau cha rodasi. Ime bhumi, this earth is anavarne. It's most beautiful and incomprehensible. Beyond description is what it means, anavarne. It's beyond description. Iyancha, this earth, as well as asaucha, that cow, sphere, rodasi, which are together referred as rodasi, which I explained yesterday. So, most and asaucha rodasi kig kim st atra anta bhutam. That is kim. Yeah, kim swit atra antara bhutam. If you do the sign, all those kigasrantara. Kim means, then we say kim. What is kim means what is kim swit bhutam. Bhutam means the being. Bhutam does not mean bhuta ghost. No. Bhutam fundamentally means the being. Kim swit bhutam. What being or what being is in all of these things. Kim swit atra antara bhutam. And this, what is this being that is present? Ena, by whom or by which? Ime bhumi, these two as in earth and atmosphere. Ime ubhe. Ubhe means and these two they mingled together. Atra antara, between these two, ubhe, two referred, bhumi anavarne ime bhumi iyancha asaucha rodasi. These two, the bhumi and the rodasi, what is present in them, what is present between them, that is holding them together with dhrite. What a beautiful question that is. So you see what is inside. When you focus on all of this, what is it saying? Whether it is earth, heaven, space, time, everything is looked at as a divine being that is behind all of this stuff. Everything, we don't look at earth and all these things as some inconsequential gross matter that is only present for our exploitation. We look at everything, we look at everything as divine being. So what's the question here? Hey, how is this earth being earth held in this rodasi, the space between the sky and everything? How is this earth held there? And what is causing, what is holding, what is the being that is holding them together? The answer is given in the next line. Vishnu na vidhrite bhumi. Vishnu na here doesn't mean Vishnu as in a blue guy sleeping on a snake coil with a rich woman pressing his feet. None of that nonsense applies here. Even though the Vaishnavites would like to claim that, don't believe in all of that stuff. The Vishnu here doesn't mean that. Vishnu here does not mean the If it means only that, this mantra will be applicable only to Vaishnavites. But this mantra are nothing to do with a Vaishnavite, Saivite, Hindu, Christian, all of that nonsense. Belinda, if you're feeling very thirsty, drink afterwards. Thank you. Focus on the class, please. Vishnuna vidhrute bhumi doesn't mean Lord Vishnu is holding all of this stuff. That's how you would like to limit the infinite teaching of these Veda mantras. Vishnu here means the all-pervading being. There is an all-pervading being that is holding this earth in its place. And this was declared by Vatsa Mahamuni iti Vatsasya Vedana. Vedana means awareness. Veda means awareness. Vedana means that which is expressed through his awareness. Great saint or sage or scientist called Vatsa Mahamuni, through his awareness and through his own inner experience of awareness, declared that Vishnuna vidhrute bhumi. So, what are all these above six? The 6 lines are of this mantra are describing. The 6 lines are describing what which we call as gravity. Vatsa Muni has conceived this concept called gravity. And gravity that is all pervading. And that which is all pervading is Vishnu. You give it a name, it's called Vishnu. And we know who this Vatsa Mahamuni is, right? Where did we hear this Vatsa Mahamuni's name? Nobody? No takers? Where did we hear Vatsa Mahamuni's name?
Just before.
Hey, no,
Plug.
don't scroll, don't scroll. I don't want you to scroll.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Plug, is it plug? She?
No.
Oh.
Panchakarma, that.
Panchakarno
That's
Vatsayanah. Panchakarno Vatsayanah. Saptakarnascha Plakshihi. That's where I have elaborated on who this Vatsa Mahamuni is. There, Panchakarna is referred belonging to Vatsa. And then that Panchakarna doesn't mean that there is a rishi by name Panchakarna. Panchakarna means 5 different angles. This Vatsa Mahamuni is a studier of cosmology, using various different tools and study of the nature. And so this Vatsa Mahamuni, observation and awareness, declares that there is this thing called Vishnu that is holding this earth in its place, and therefore that is gravity. See, gravity is the 4 fundamental forces of the nature that is very important for understanding the structure and dynamics of this universe. And what is that gravity defined by Newton's perspective? Newton's perspective. So this gravity is the one, that force that attracts objects with mass towards each other, playing a critical role in keeping the Earth's atmosphere itself is bound to this planet. So each planet has its own atmosphere. That's what's called rho, the sea, that's in between this planet and the space up above. So each planet has its own atmosphere. How does each planet hold its own atmosphere? What causes it to hold? How is this principle of gravity there? 2 scientists, there are 3 aspects that we're talking about. Please be clear about it. Each object has its own force of attraction, and that force of attraction, or the aura around that force of attraction, creates holding of the atmosphere itself. So Newton said that the law of gravity which was he formulated in 1687, that the gravitational force between two objects is determined by the mass of the objects and the distance between their centers defined by a gravitational constant. If you studied science, all of this, we should remember this. So therefore, he said there is a gravitational pull defined by mass, distance between objects, and a gravitational constant. But Einstein, after 228 years, only in 1915, what did he redefine gravity as? Einstein redefined gravity by what's called theory of general relativity. And then he said it is gravity not as a force, but gravity is a curvature of space and time caused by mass and energy. He said there's a curvature that occurs. And then wherein he brought in the context of space-time, a curvature caused by space-time. So what will happen? Massive objects like the sun, they create a different space-time curvature. And that curvature caused by these mass objects like sun, they will hold these atmospheric gases. And because of that curvature created by space-time, objects will have not only mutual attraction, but in the particular space because of the curvature created by it. I don't know, am I boring all of you with this? Is it way too above the head? I'm trying to simplify as much as possible. I am not a physicist myself. This is my very limited understanding of how Einstein defined it. So therein, what did Einstein do? Einstein basically was able to explain that this large-scale phenomenon, such as Earth's orbit around the sun, is defined by this space-time curvature of the sun. Now there is this atmospheric retention that we talked about. So this Earth's gravity or each planet's curvature of space-time is a critical factor in retaining this essential life-sustaining gases like oxygen and other things in its own atmosphere. So this aspect about space-time curvature that we are referring to is very important. So with an escape velocity of about 11 kilometers per second, Earth retains most of its atmospheric particles, especially gases like oxygen and nitrogen, that remain bound within its own space-time curvature. Space-time curvature is exactly what they were talking before. And how the space-time curvature is defined by movement of the sun's rays and movement of the water particles, water vapor through this atmosphere. Anyway, this is the beauty of Sage Vatsa's insights on gravity, which are totally in sync with the modern scientific understanding of gravity. There he described the gravity as a bhutam, as a being, as a dynamic entity called bhutam. Bhutam means that which is a entity, a being. That's the beauty of the rishis' outlook, that they never cause anything because everything is in consciousness. Everything is in consciousness and consciousness is in everything. Therefore, there is nothing insentient in the context of a rishi's vision. Whereas the scientist's vision is only looking at a sun as an object, an earth as an object, and the gravity that is holding them together as an object or as some constant. But the Rishi's vision is, hey, all of this is consciousness. It's a divine phenomenon called gravity, and it is elucidated, this space-time phenomenon associated with the sun, and is referred to as the all-pervading Vishnu. The space-time curvature equation that is all-pervading, if it is given a name, it is given the name Vishnu. And that Vishnu is the one that is holding the earth and the sky together. And that is beautifully described on what happens because of this. The next two lines of mantra, how much time we have? Oh, 35. We will only complete this line, and then we will study this line along with the next line next week. Next week is what? Oh, this coming week we have Guru Purnima celebrations. And the Guru Purnima celebrations, as I already mentioned on the Veda study group, Sacramento Sai Center is doing on 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So therefore, on this coming Saturday, on the 12th, on the 11th, there is a Laksharchana that's being offered to Bhagwan. And I sent a link in the Veda study group. Those of you who are interested and where you don't have Sai centers or no access to Easy Sai Center, join by Zoom, and you can also virtually participate in the Laksharchana, which is 100,000 times chanting of Om Sri Satya Sai Krishnaya Namaha. Krishna is the one that attracts. Akarshayati iti Krishnaha, Kushyati iti Krishnaha, Karshayati iti Krishnaha. So we're talking about the earth's phenomenon of attraction. Chant Om Sri Satya Sai Krishnaya Namaha, that brings attraction to the divine force within and without. A great opportunity to offer our gratitude to the Supreme Master, who has descended as this incredible Rishi by name Veda Vyasa, whose birthday is this coming Thursday on a Guruvara. It is Guru Purnimi, super auspiciousness. And so if you truly care as a Veda student, every Veda student must express their gratitude for Veda Vyasa, without whom we will not be having this privilege in a limited understanding of the supreme awareness and the wisdom. That gratefulness expression is this, gratefulness to Veda Vyasa is this Guru Purnima. And on Friday we will have the Laksharchana, Om Sri Satya Sai Krishnaya Namaha. And the master, the spiritual master that has lit the fire of Vedas across the globe, which no other master has done in the history of humanity, across the globe, which no other spiritual master has done. Express our gratefulness to that Bhagwan on Friday. Those of you who are in Sacramento must go and attend this Laksharchana and participate in the 4 days of celebrations. Please, I am saying must go because I want you to express our love to Bhagwan. And on the 12th, which is the next coming Saturday, there will be Ekadash Rudra Abhishekam to Baba. You please sign up and offer our gratitude to the source of the entire wisdom called Rudra. And on the 13th, there is a backpack service project in Sacramento to give school supplies to all the needy, assembling school kits, because that is knowledge. So we share our gratitude to Bhagwan by enabling these children who don't have supplies to go to school. So everything is a beautiful offering for the next 4 days, starting from the 10th. I hope you all take this opportunity to heart. So that's we'll close with this last line. Iravati
Iravati,
Dhenumati hi bhutam.
Iravati, Dhenumati, Hibhutam.
Suryavasini manushe dasasye. Dashasye. Dashasye. Suryavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Is it Surya or Suya? Is typo?
Suya, sorry, it's not Surya. I apologize. Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Suyavasini Manush.
Suyavasini. Not there is no R. There is no R there. Yeah. My mistake. My mistake.
Su
Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Right. Okay. I will not explain this mantra because we're running out of time. And also the next one also goes with this. So we are only learning the mantra so that when we practice on Wednesday, you will have the full mantra, 27th mantra to practice. Iravati dhenumati bhutam.
Om
Om.
Ira Om Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam
Dhenumati. Dhe is a long syllable. Long syllable.
Dhe.
Okay.
Okay.
Dhe Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam.
Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam
Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Suyavasini Manushe Okay, could you please repeat? I think you're cutting out. I couldn't really hear.
Oh, am I cutting out? Oh, sorry, da.
Yeah, just a
Okay.
bit.
Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye Suyavasini Manushe Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye
Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam. Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Iravati Dhenumati Bhutam Suyavasini Manushe Dashasye.
Okay, let's pause here and then Yadaksharpada Bhrashtam. Sham, you can chant. Oh, Jayashree, you can chant Yadaksharpada Bhrashtam, please.
ॐ यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देवनारायण नमोऽस्तु ते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वर अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु.
Okay, Sairam, I know I Ran 15 minutes over today's class, but we covered two beautiful mantra. Any questions?
Uncle, yeah, you were cutting for me the audio was a bit cutting out during the 27th mantra explanation a bit. I
Oh,
don't know if everyone was it also cutting out?
Right, that's right. I was about to say.
okay.
Yes,
Can you hear
yes.
me? Okay. Yeah, so I will post the transcript also, so you can also read that. What I was really explaining in that mantra is about the principles, scientific principles of gravity as defined by Newton almost 300 years ago, and how that changed with Einstein, who then brought in the concept of space-time curvature to describe the gravity. But the space-time curvature is exactly what Vatsa was talking about. So that's how we started with the whole questionnaire about the time and then the space and how they are interrelated to each other. And that's the space-time equation. Why did we suddenly bring back time in the context of gravity, or what is holding everything in place? So the Vatsa Mahamuni, through his awareness, has then brought in this whole thing called space-time curvature, and how that holds the earth in its place along with the atmosphere. Rodasi means the atmosphere. Rodasi is between the sun and the earth, and how this the each planet creates its own atmosphere, and how that atmosphere is held by each planet. And the sun's atmosphere is the one that is so magnificent, and along with this space-time curvature holds the different objects like the earth or the beings. That's what I was talking about. But the beauty of the mantra is that Kiggasvidatrantara bhutam. They're not talking about gravity as some natural phenomenon. What he's talking about, there is a being. Bhutam means there is a being. There is a being that is holding everything together, and that being is all pervading, and therefore it is called Vishnu. And this Vishnu, the all pervading gravity called Vishnu, is holding the Rodasi and the earth, the atmosphere, the earth and its atmosphere together in their places. So why it is this now? They don't stop there. They don't explain something and then they don't stop there. The Rishi says, what is the reason why that is happening? What is the outcome of such beautiful phenomenon called space and space-time curvature, also called as gravity? What is the outcome of that? That is what we will study in the next two lines of the mantra. Iravati dhenumati hi bhutam Suyavasini Manushe Dasasye explains what is the purpose, principle, intent behind that beautiful phenomenon called gravity. There is no mantras like this, this is nothing to do with some Vishnu and all of those gods. Those gods are created only to have have a name, form, and function to worship. But if you are only stuck in that idol, you don't see that Vishnu has this all pervading phenomenon. That's the beauty of the Veda mantras, is that they don't hold you to a particular idol. They don't hold you to a particular thing and then say, if you don't believe in it, you go to hell. That's not what Vedas do. And in fact, even in the context of Hinduism evolution itself, all these Vaishnavites, Saivites, Shaktites, all these Ganapatya, Sauram, all these Surya Upasaka, they fight amongst each other like dogs and cats, saying Shiva is the only God, Vishnu is the only God. Veda mantras do not do that. That's why we are so grateful to Veda Vyasa and the one who reincarnated as Adi Shankara, who brought all these things together and said, hey, you fools, there is only one phenomenon. You call it by different names, but there is only one phenomenon, and that phenomenon is non-dual. That phenomenon has nothing to do with the name, form, and function. Connect to that. Don't get carried away by each guru and all the paraphernalia associated with them. It's all nonsensical. Please It's all nonsensical. And Bhagavan therefore always points us to this supreme, even the thought for the day I was reading. Just look at that, how beautifully he's laying out. Brahmananda is. Connect to that. Only one reason Bhagavan has done that is because transform yourselves by connecting to the oneness of the divine phenomenon and the oneness in awareness. Don't separate ourselves. Jai Sai Ram. Okay, that's the essence of what I was saying. Okay, repeat. Any other questions or comments or insights? You're all
Sairam.
tired?
So
Take
I
care.
was
Sai
looking
Ram.
at in our body, Vishnu. We think it's like a mind which is all pervading. So then it is holding body and whatever the Brahman with breathing. So the slower the breathing between those two breath is this. How do I put it? I don't know. I was just trying to relate
Is it a
mind
comment
and
or a question, Mama?
no, I was just trying to understand how it affects
Ah,
how Vishnu all pervading. I compare the outside with inside. That's what I was trying to do.
what is holding your inside with outside?
So the mind is compared, like Vishnu is compared with the mind, which is all pervading.
I no, I never heard that.
Okay, I have
Is somebody
heard.
somebody told you that mind is Vishnu?
Yeah, I have heard in one of Swami's discourse. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. That could be
Um,
true. Yes, each
um,
perception is true. There is nothing wrong, right or wrong about it. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Sai Ramana, this is Shakti here. I just wanted to um, share an observation or a comment here. From Newton, science got adapted to Einstein's theory of relativity and other things, what you said. And that, even in that Einstein's this thing, the space and time are foundational elements. And that's where he brought in gravity, right? Even that is now being questioned to your point about going towards consciousness. Now, for example, there are theories like what is now called as conscious agent theory, where it doesn't even assume space and time as foundational elements. It says consciousness is the foundational element, and a derivative of that is the space and time. So very interesting thing is how our forefathers have come up with all of these things, what modern science is just unearthing slowly as very, very real complexities. So that was just one observation, Anna.
Thank you.
Um, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes, that
Yeah.
is true. There is.
The other thing I was just thinking about was um, in 26, he was the shloka was talking about how time is a derivative of water, which is the flow, and how flow is derivative of Surya, right? The water is the derivative of Surya. There are little meanings. But what in my thought process, it was more like if there is no sun, the concept of the literal time itself is not there, right? I think you have highlighted that many times because only the repeatability brings out the time, right? In terms of, but if you really see, even this time is an illusion, right? Yesterday morning, I had breakfast, is just a memory. And even that memory happens in this moment now, right? So though the concept of time is very useful from a practical point of view, there is really no time since everything happens in the now. Is this thing correct, Anna?
Yeah. So it is, what is time fundamentally? Now, when we talk about time, there are three levels of time. One is the relative time, which we are all bound to. Then there is the thing called a personal time, which if for each person 10 minutes for you is not the same 10 minutes for me. 100% that is true. what one can accomplish, an individual can accomplish in a limited span of relative time. I talked about this several times, like a Swami Vivekananda or an Adi Shankaracharya. Look at 32 years of his relative lifespan. What has Adi Shankaracharya has done, which is not even practical for the entire intelligentsia of one country put together to do what he did in 32 years. That is so therefore the 32 years of his lifespan, relative lifespan, is not the same. So personally there is a difference. And now there is how they operate so efficiently, so effectively, by a Vivekananda or a Adi Shankaracharya and many great souls like this, whose l- relative lifespan is very less. So obviously time as defined relatively, and now the modern science has come to the same conclusion, that the same relative time slows down, affected by forces like gravity and space-time curvature. The clock that moves when it moves away from the relative aspects of gravitational force is slower than a clock that is subject to gravity. You understand? This
Yeah.
is science. Einstein has proven that. Now, what did they come to as conclusion as? The movement of the photon, the loss of entropy of a photon, a light particle in space, defines what is time. So modern science has come to an incredible phenomenal discovery about what time is in the context of a light particle, a photon. And that concept is already laid out in Aruna Prishna. They're saying, Suryo Marichima Dhatte Sarvasmat Bhunadati. Now, the question is there time? Uh, what is time? Yes, there is time. There is also no time. How does time disappear? What does it mean there is no time? That means there is no movement. And what is movement within us? There are only two things that are moving within us. One is your thought and the other is your breath. One is your thought, the other is your breath. You give space between two breaths, two breathing in and breathing out. You will give more space between your thoughts. And in that space between the two thoughts, what exists? That's what you can call it as presence or consciousness or whatever. When you operate from that point of view, there is no time. That is how at least this mind understand what it is.
So when you say
So
Kala
what?
Titaya, that's what it means, right? Beyond, going beyond time is in that presence is where
No,
is that?
it is actually saying, if you are the movement itself, then what is time for you? Okay. Just don't think about it too much, because if you think you'll use it, you will lose it. Because that is what is the beauty of. So there is a, we can see at some point it will become a real profound inner experience of your own thought and the movement within you, when you completely are aware of the movement within you, or as Eckhart Tolle defines it in The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, he has very beautifully explained this concept of movement. And there are many great philosophers or practical scientists, like one of the most profound is also Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Hmm.
If you actually go and look at how he defines a thought, how he defines the movement, how he defines a desire, it's phenomenal. All of this is happening within us. All of the everything that's talking about is happening within us. And now when we talk about what is that all pervading thing, whoever has called mind as Vishnu, I don't know, I would like to see the reference from sister, this thing. Mindlessness is timelessness. Mind cannot be the all pervading thing. It is the space between the two thoughts that is all pervading. So therefore, if thought is mind, mind cannot be all pervading. Mind
In
limits
fact,
you.
in fact, thought and memory creates the illusion of time, right? The concept of time. It's the thought which
Yes.
creates the.
Yeah. Yes. It is the thought that binds you or limits your timelessness. Okay, now let's. That's
Sai
way
Ram.
beyond the. That's way beyond what this class is going to look at. I don't want you all to become mindless. In fact, become mindful for Guru Purnima. So Buddha talked about mindlessness or mindfulness. The mindfulness is about what is the mindful of Purnima. Guru Purnima is coming, Guru Purnima is coming. There are a lot of people that make a lot of money with corporate seminars around mindfulness. What should be the mindful of? What do you fill the mind with? That is the question you can ask for Guru Purnima, and Bhagavan will answer that to each of you inside. That is Guru Purnima. Purnima. Mindfulness is Guru Purnima. Jai Sai Ram. Okay, let's go to स्वस्तिः प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्याय्येन मार्गेण महीम् महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. By the way, just about the mindlessness and mindfulness, the path of yoga is about annihilating or killing the thought. The path of bhakti is filling the thought with love. When your mind is full of love, it is mindfulness, and that is the Purnima. When the mind is lack of thought, completely annihilated, that is called the Amavasya, the mind, the thoughtlessness. Both will lead to the awakening or to the awareness of the consciousness. One is filling, the other is removing. And this is the cycle that we go through with the mind. Just the moon goes thinning and waxing. That's the essence of mindfulness and mindlessness. Jai Sai Ram. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki
Jai
Jai.
Sai Ram.
Gracias.